Hello, CD Bestie. Aku Jeff Howard dari The Used. Check out our new interview with CreativeDisc, the #1 music website in Indonesia.
Welcome back to CreativeDisc exclusive interview with me, Lutfi. Today, I'm so excited to introduce my guest today because they are the legendary emo and post-hardcore band that very popular during my junior high school era with their song. Oh my God, this is like dreams come true, man! Pretty handsome, awkward taste of ink, the bird and the worm, and of course my favorite track, blood on my hand and buried myself alive. That it's very, very played during my junior high school era. And guess
Nice.
what? They still productive and making new album that released in last month called Toxic Positivity, man. Like, it's such an honor for me to welcoming my guest today. Please welcome. This is Jeff Howard from The Use.
Hey, what's going on? Right on.
Yeah,
Nice to
yeah,
meet
yeah,
you.
yeah. Nice to meet you too in person. Oh my God. So
Yeah.
so right now, Jeff,
Yeah.
what are you doing right now?
Currently, we're on a tour in America. We're on a tour with Pierce the Veil and
Oh
Don
wow.
Broco. Yeah.
How's the
And
tour?
oh my God, it's amazing. It's such a good family vibe because we're friends with all these bands for years now. And you never know. So sometimes on tour, you never know how other bands are going to be, right?
Mm.
And they tour the same way we do, to where their dressing room and their bus and their anywhere is a hangout. So I don't feel uncomfortable going onto their bus, like I don't feel like none of us do. So we all intermingle. The whole tour has just been constant intermingling between bands and crew.
Oh wow. So okay, it's quite a tour because it's like the legendary band like Pierce the Field, and right now the Use is in the one tour. Like, oh my God, how's the crowd? How's the crowd?
Oh, crowd's been incredible. They've been so receptive to both sides, and
Mm.
there's a lot of crossover fans, so it's kind of a mixed show. And then
Mm.
there's a lot of fans that have never heard of us before because the way
Oh,
they found Pierce the Veil was different than they found us. And the same way with our fan, there's a lot of our fans that have never found Pierce the Veil. So it's really fun. And then hanging out with the Don Broco Bros is
yeah.
incredible too because they're such good people and they're so talented. And we've been doing shows to where the singer of Don Broco will come up on stage and
Mm.
play like a song with us every night. It's been so much fun.
Okay, so let's delve deeper into your ninth album. Oh, it's
Oh,
like ninth album. Am I? Oh, so sorry.
no, I said to turn that off.
Okay.
It's loud for you, I bet,
No, no,
the
no,
whole
no, no.
time.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, it's all right. Sorry, it's all right. So, okay, let's talk more about your ninth album. Am I right?
I think so. There's so many I can't count because there's
Oh my goodness. Oh Lord.
yeah, I don't know because we have two DVDs. One of those might count as a record. We have
Mm.
a record we did ourselves that was
Oh
released. There's
wow.
a B-sides record. I think
Wow.
so. I think there's more than nine if you count all of
Oh,
those. And our
really?
first record, we had a pre-record that was done before our self-titled release. So I don't know if that
Wow.
counts. We got a lot of records, maybe 1,000, I guess.
Okay. So let's talk more about your career, the use career, but let's talk more about your newest album right now, Toxic Positivity. Like, can you tell me the detail about this album?
Yeah. So it was recorded in two different sections. The first section was recorded during the pandemic. Well, so what we did was we went to the studio because there was nothing else to do. So we went to the studio and tried to blast out as many songs as we could in 10 days. So we had 10 days to do it, right? We ended up doing like 12 or 13 songs in 10 days, fully recorded, fully finished. And then that sat around for about a year and a half. And then we went back in the studio again and did another one of those 10 to 12 days and do as many songs as we can and blast them out. And so what's really cool is there's two different sections of this record. And so all the songs that were released on Toxic Positivity, I think there's only 11 or 12 songs. I think 11. we have a whole B-sides record that could be released within the year or two of another 10 plus songs. So that's going to come out. But the ones we did on the record definitely have two different vibes because Bert was going through some really hardships during the first 10. I mean, all of us went through, pandemic kind of it hit everybody, so we all need to get some mental health checkups after the pandemic. Like a global therapist is what we need. But Bert was going through a bunch of other things like addiction and some depression and some really heavy emotions were happening. And so the record, the first half of the record, you can hear it. It's really dark.
Yeah,
It's
it
really,
is.
it's
It is. It
really,
is.
yeah, it's really bleak. It's really, there's no positivity in sight of anywhere.
Yeah, it is.
Um,
It is.
and then it kind of turns around. The second half of the
Yeah.
record starts getting a little more upbeat, and then it ends on a really good note, the giving up. It's a really positive, like don't give up, like there's going to be a way out of it. And that half was recorded the second half. So the second half is Bert went through all of that, and the second half, so the second recording that we did, I was saying, it was more about like overcoming everything that happened.
Oh, wow. But I think it's wow, it's like a concept album. But I think like uh when I heard the title, it's like called the toxic positivity. I think like it's a brave title, brave and bold title, because especially in this hyper connectivity era, this term is very, very it can be found everywhere. I think it's very, very bold. Your new
Thanks.
album called Toxic Positivity.
Thanks. Yeah, it's kind of a mix of both things. Toxic, you don't think to be positive, but some of that stuff can be infecting, having this positive outlook on things, trying to get through it and going through something and then having it spread to your friends because you can talk about it, you can help them through it. Like when you lose a family member, it's hard to relate until someone else loses a family member and then you can relate with them about what happened. It's really interesting.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So, in your opinion, what is like toxic positivity for you?
What is it for me? The actual
Yes.
title meaning?
Yeah.
Um, I relate it to that, like what I was just saying, sort of going through some shit
Mm.
and not and this is only me, so this is
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
anybody else in the band. So this
Yes.
is just me. For me, I
Yes.
relate it to like I was kind of saying, like I would say losing like your best friend and not being able
Oh.
to relate to anybody else because no one else,
Ah.
maybe none of your friends have lost a best friend and just
Mm.
you are, or maybe it's your mom or your dad or something. Like
Yes.
you lost them or even your dog. We'll go there. Okay. So let's do that one.
Oh.
Okay. Let's say you just lost a pet, right? And
Mm.
it's your best friend. You've had them for 14 or 15 years and
Yeah.
you're crushed and you're devastated and you can't comprehend it. You can't get by. And you have that one friend, right? That one friend that has had the same thing happen to them. And now all of a sudden you're sort of connected. You're connected by a negative thing that happened, but you're connected in the way that you both understand now. You both understand those feelings and you communicate those feelings together and you know how to get past it because all of a sudden you're not alone anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So
Wow.
through the negativity, there is a way to come out of it. There's other people to help. And I think for me, this record hits home in a lot of ways through that, like understanding that you aren't alone. No matter how dark and no matter how deep it is, there is someone else that is going through the same thing or
Yeah.
worse. And you can connect with that sort of and get help that way. That's how I look at it.
Oh, wow. But I think it's like true to like the emo sounds like, I think like the magic of we talk like about the scene that birthed you, like the emo scene. I think like the magic of emotion is like you can blur it out emotion, like be honest and be open. I think when you feel angry, you feel angry. When you feel sad or feel sad, I think like it's very, very well suited to your new music, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in there. I mean, even songs that didn't make the record, like People Are Vomit, it's really
Mm-hmm.
relatable. It's really relatable.
Mm.
You watch the news and you see what's going on, and then you see people being like hurt for no reason, and you
Yes.
see like wars that are happening, and you see,
Yes.
and it's like sometimes it's hard to have a good look on things. But then there are all
Mm.
those people, like I'm saying, there are all those people that do stuff and they stand up and
Mm.
they help, and those
Mm.
make me keep going. That's really one of the only things that keeps me going anymore is seeing
Oh,
those people
wow.
that are actually trying to make a change and help.
Oh wow, 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 wow.
Which relates to Numb, the song Numb, because I
Yes.
mean, it's so relatable. Does anybody else feel numb? You know, that constant feeling of being numb from
Mm,
all of the negativity and the terrible shit that's going on. And then connecting with other people because a lot of people feel that way. You know, they're just
mm.
so depressed by what's happening.
But I think this album is quite unique for me because I think there is some a new sound in here, but I think you still kind borrow of your glory of the past. It's like a mix of two of both worlds. How can you balance it? The new one and your the use and the use that used to be.
Yeah, it's actually connected. It connects really easily. It almost feels like this new record is sort of a jump back to the past. You know, it feels kind of
Ah,
like it
yeah,
almost
yeah,
feels
yeah,
like the
yeah.
older yous because we all grow and we change musically and we change everything about us, you know, almost daily.
Yes.
But musically it's good to advance and to change. It almost feels like this new record is like a jump backwards and
Mm,
advancing the future of that, you know,
mm,
almost like a different branch of what they used could have been after artwork, the record artwork, you know.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
wow. Okay, so let's talk about the genre that makes you famous, the emo genre. So, on your personal opinion, what do you think about the emo music itself?
You know, it's for me, it's always been such a weird term. Maybe it's because I've always been in the middle of it, you know. So it's
Oh,
it's it's hard to
really?
see if it's hard to see it when you're in the
Oh,
middle. You know, it's like that term, you can't see the forest through the trees, you know. It's
oh,
like when
really?
you're stuck in the middle of something, it's hard to understand.
Hmm.
It's hard to understand it. But for me, I always thought that the whole idea of the word emo
Hmm.
doesn't make a lot of sense because all music itself is emotional, right? Unless it's maybe computer music, I guess. But you know, so for me, I've always considered pretty much any band.
Hmm.
I mean, you could call James Brown like an emo singer, I guess, or like Bob Marley would probably be the greatest emo singer of all time, you know, if you
Yeah.
put it that way, you know, or James Jamerson or any of like the music from the 60s and 70s be like height of emo, I guess, if you want to put it
Hmm.
that way, you know, but I don't know. I'll accept whatever term anybody wants to put on our band,
Hmm.
you know, as long as it means something to them and they take away something good from it, you know.
Ah, I see, I see. But I think this is very interesting because when you are writing song when you are younger, it's very very different. When you are writing song when you are older right now. So I think like what's the difference when you are writing when you are younger and right now when you are writing when you are older with the same sound?
Less pressure, I feel like.
Really?
Like, well, it depends, I guess, because you have your entire life to write your first record, right? And then your
Yeah.
second record, you get like 2 years, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
something like
yeah.
that, you know, like, and so it's just now there's like time limits and time constraints. And it used to be a lot more difficult. And the good thing is, like the way, like I said, since we've known each other for so long, and since we've been jamming and playing music together for so long,
Mm,
we understand each person in the band really well and know how to sort of let them relax into their part, you know. And we can all. What was cool about this new recording is that
mm,
everyone was just vibing on each part. You know, we would just sit in the studio together
mm,
for like 14 hours, maybe 15 hours, and just everybody would throw out ideas, you know, like, what about, I see what you're doing there. Why don't you try this instead? Or why don't you try
mm.
this instead? We'd sit for every single part, vocals, bass, drums, all of it, you know, and that made it a little more exciting in that way that it's easy as a musician to be stuck in a routine,
Yeah,
you know, to where because you know, you get to the point you are I'm gonna relate it to bass because I'm a bass player, obviously. But I
yeah.
get to the point where I'm at because of the things that I've done. You know what I mean? All my experiences and the way that I play bass is how my brain is working to tell my
Mm,
hands to play that way, you know? And so all the
mm.
routines I've come up with, all the fills, like my style is almost like a box, you know? And to get out of that box
Uh-huh.
is kind of
Mm.
difficult, you know?
Oh,
But
wow.
having your friends that are with you that are all
Mm,
musicians and maybe they don't play that same instrument, so they're not
mm.
thinking the same way as a bass player, they'll be like, yo, Jeff,
Oh.
on this part right here, I know what you're trying to do, but instead, why don't you try this?
Mm,
You know, and that'll open up like a little doorway that I can jump into and kind of explore other parts. But that's how we did it with this whole record for everyone's parts, drums, vocals. We'd all throw out like lyric ideas, you know, just anything to have, you know, everybody's vibe fully there.
Oh wow, wow, wow. So I think like this is like a grown-up records for you guys.
I feel that way. Feels pretty grown up overall.
And so okay, what's the perspective about what has changed for you when you're older that you didn't felt when you are younger? It
Um,
can be like your view doing music, or maybe like your views of everything.
I would say everything. I got well, whew. So, music, I think music has gotten better and worse at the same time,
Oh
which is hard
wow.
to say.
Mm,
I mean, it's so easy, nothing's ever going to be like the 60s and 70s. That's when,
yes.
everyone was the most talented musician. They'd go into the studio
Mm,
and you'd have to know your shit. You know what I mean?
mm,
To go into the
yeah.
studio and you jam it, you jam it, jam it. All right, let's
Mm,
record.
mm,
And you have to be super on,
mm,
and it sounded scary, but everyone is so talented back then.
mm.
Now their talent is like the bottom part of it, which is okay. I'm not talking shit about that. That's okay.
So, mm,
It's just how music's changed overall. You have computers that'll help fix the song and make it sound better, which
yeah.
is totally cool. It's how it goes. You know what I mean? And it's all about evolution. Music is evolving into wherever it's going, and it's a fun journey to be on. I don't know if my favorite stuff is all from the 60s and 70s, like I was saying. There's like a
Mm,
soul there that I don't hear in a lot of records anymore, like a deep
mm,
soul, whatever that is.
mm,
And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not something that I'm into really as much. I
mm,
know it's there in some bands, and I know it's coming out, and it'll come back around because everything goes in circles. It's
yes.
cyclical. But as far as like the world goes, I'm a little depressed overall. you know, it's life is depressing.
Yeah.
And it's getting harder in so many ways, but it's also getting better. I feel like the best thing about, the 20 like the mid 2000s, whatever, 2023, but best thing
Mm,
about 2023, I guess, and beyond,
mm, mm.
is that the internet's evolved so much into making it almost like a one world culture now. So where,
Yeah.
like people are getting along a little bit better all over because,
Mm,
you know, we're all in this together. We're all going through these problems and we can all relate to these same problems that are happening worldwide, and
mm,
you see like some destruction happen in a country and everybody gets on board and everybody's like, oh, we need to help them. But you see that a lot more than you would have maybe like 30 years ago. You'd have not as
yeah.
much help, but it's because the internet's made it so you can see it and you can feel it and you can become part of these communities and these families and these world problems. And it is a world problem, like everything is a world problem.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's like part of the globalization, I think.
I think so, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy as long as we are
Mm.
all together in it. We're all
Oh,
together to face all of the world's problems as a whole, you know.
yeah, it is. So, okay, talking about being together, you are, the founding one of the founding member of the youth and making music almost 25 years. So, what's your motivation? What's your biggest reason to still doing this
Um,
to almost 25 years, man?
yeah, that's a long time, right? It's a long time. 2000
Yeah.
is when the band started. Um, we have, I remember the very first day Bert came in, we had one song written. We had Maybe Memories written,
Mm.
just music. And Bert came to my mom's house
Oh wow.
because I was sleeping over at my mom's house because I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
anywhere to go. So I was
Mm.
staying at her house.
Mm.
Um, and I made this really shitty little vocal booth. It was really terrible. And Bert came in
Mm.
and just sang Maybe Memories, how the demo version of Maybe Memories was, sang it in
Mm.
that closet.
Mm.
Um yeah, and then blah blah blah, move forward. We moved into this like little house somewhere
Mm.
and made a full recording area and just jammed in that room. And that's where we
Mm.
recorded everything else.
Mm.
These are demos too. I'm not talking the first record. I'm
Mm.
talking a pre-record like demos and stuff. But yeah, 23 years ago, a little over 23 years now actually, but pretty wild. It feels good to keep going. I mean, what keeps me going, I guess, is these are my best friends. I couldn't do it if I didn't like these guys. I don't know if I could do it, obviously, but it's fun to come back on tour and see everyone and be able to jam with them. And I love playing bass so much. There's There's not much in life. I mean, I play video games because I'm a nerd, but
Oh,
nothing beats bass to me. It's like the number one thing in my life. Video games are pretty high, not that high.
but what's your most favorite video game that you like?
uh, that's tough. I jump around a lot.
Oh,
I'm
really?
currently playing the new Zelda, which is so much
Oh,
fun.
wow.
It's great. But I'm usually
Did you
like a
achieve a lot on the Zelda?
no, it's pain in the ass. It's a lot of fun. But plus, I don't have that much time. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
get
yeah.
like an hour. Maybe we'll get an hour at night right before I go to bed. But all day I've got stuff to do every day. So it's like a
Yeah.
little bit of I want to play more, but I just can't.
It is. My friend plays Zelda because I didn't get into the like Nintendo Switch one. I
Yeah, yeah.
didn't have one. But I think like the Zelda one, like my friends is like he's a pilot right now, and he's
Oh, that's
not
fun.
on yes, and he's not onboarding right now. So he played
Uh,
Zelda all the time, I think.
oh yeah, it's big.
Yeah,
It's fun.
it's very
It's
very
real.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any kind of game that you're playing or you like?
Um, we as a band, me and Bert got obsessed with Elden Ring. Like obsessed with Elden Ring. Like
But it's
obsessed.
but it's such a
Oh
hardcore game. It's
yeah.
it's very very
Oh,
hard.
it's hard. Bert's obsessed with those kind of games. That company's called FromSoft, and he's super obsessed with FromSoft games. He's beat. I think he's might have beat all of them. I know he beat that the ninja one, Sekiro Dice twice. He's beat that a couple
Yeah.
times. Elden Ring, he beat like 30 times.
What?
Wild. Yeah, in a row too. So it gets harder as you play it, and he just kept beating it, beating it, beating it. It's pretty wild.
What?
Yeah.
I I actually want to buy Elden Ring, but
Oh, it's fun.
but
It's good.
it's pretty expensive right now. The Steam
Yeah, it's kind of
one.
pricey. Yeah, yeah. Would you get it on
Yeah.
Steam? Is what you get it on? Is that what you said? Or
Yes, yes,
Xbox or
yes, yes.
PlayStation? Yeah, one of
I've
those.
on the Steam I'm like on the PC side because
Oh, okay.
and it's very very expensive right now. So I think
Yeah, it's like
like
yeah. I don't
and
know
it's very
what
very
Indonesia
high
was.
spec too. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what you
Yeah,
need
yeah.
is one of these.
Hmm,
This is what you need. This is Bert's, by the way. This
hmm.
is what you need.
Oh my goodness. That's Steam Deck.
Steam Deck. What's up?
Oh my goodness. I want the Steam Deck. I want to Steam Deck. The ROG Ally one, the newest one,
Yeah.
the ROG that the Asus that made.
Yeah, I saw that. I
Yeah,
heard it's
yeah. I
nice,
want.
but
Yeah, and it looks cheaper, and it's cheaper in Indonesia. I think like
see, that's
it's like
nice.
yeah, I think it's Indonesia
Yeah.
price is like it's not not $800. I think around
Okay.
that price, and
Okay.
I think
Let's see
it's
what the
very modular, and it's very very not too big, like too big or
Steam Deck's big.
yeah, Steam
Steam,
Deck is very very big. That's why I
it's
didn't want
so
to buy it.
thick. This thing, it's like a pound or like a pound and a half. Like they're huge. They're like
Yes.
it's really heavy, but they're awesome, man. This is Bert's, not mine, but they're pretty cool. It's just
Yeah.
big, you know.
Yeah. I kind of like
Yeah.
my go-to gamers game gear is like the Asus one, the ROG Zephyrus one. It's very very thin laptop.
Oh, I've seen those. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Bert has that too. Maybe
Oh really?
he
The
might have that.
Zephyrus?
He might. I think so. Somebody does. So we have a couple. There's a couple gamers on the bus.
Oh wow.
Like one of the game. So our merch guy set up
Mm,
a
mm.
PlayStation 5
Oh
and a 32-inch
mm.
TV in his bunk. I'll have to show it to you when we get off. It's really funny. Full
Okay.
gamer setup in his bunk. Yeah.
Wow. We talk a lot about the game stuff. I think like this is like
I even have check this out. Elden Ring tattoo right
oh
there.
my god. Oh my god. It kind of like an unexpected in here. This is like a midnight interview for me in Jakarta. It's like
Oh,
almost
cool.
1 a.m. in here.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
So you're about to start playing games is what's going on.
So okay. This is one of the toughest question, I think. Like So this is the question like, okay, mention 5 things we didn't know about the use from your perspective.
Oh, I guess I could tell you that Bert has beaten Elden Ring
Yeah.
more times than anybody I know. Plus, he has an Elden Ring tattoo. We both do.
Oh, wow.
Nerds. Number two, I guess I'm a serious introvert, which is
Oh.
maybe not known too much.
Mm.
I get too much anxiety going out sometimes.
Mm.
Like I do better. Maybe it's not, I'm an only child, so maybe it has something to do with that. But I usually just do
Ah.
my own thing. Sometimes I'll hang out with people when we have the time, but
Okay.
I like doing my own thing. 5 things. Okay, well there's 2, right? 3
Yes.
more.
Yes.
I am obsessed with tea. I drink matcha, tons of matcha every single
Okay.
day. I love green tea. I love all teas. Oh my
Mm.
God. Tea is life to me.
Oh.
I couldn't live without tea. It doesn't matter what
Okay.
type of tea.
Mm.
Yeah. The first time I ate durian was in Indonesia.
Oh, how is
Yeah,
it?
I think I died, and I kept trying to like it, so I'd keep eating it, you know.
Mm.
But I found a durian drink that I liked. So
Ooh.
it took me a while. Yeah, I forced myself to get through it. It's
Mm.
definitely spicy. It's definitely a spicy drink.
Mm.
That's
Mm.
Dave that just walked in. He has a gaming setup in his bunk.
Okay, let's fast forward
Okay,
this interview so we can
so we can get to that.
yes, okay.
Okay.
The 5th one.
One more.
Mm.
We tour as a family, so everybody in our crew and in our band are all considered equal,
Mm.
which is pretty fun. So we all treat each other equally. We whatever you guys want on tour. Maybe not Dave. Dave's really far down on the scale, but everybody else is equal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this wrap up this interview with the youth. Didn't expect that we talk so much about game. Oh my
I didn't
goodness.
expect that either. That came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Nerd interview.
Yeah, it is more fun. We are doing such nerdy things. Okay, so this wrap up this interview. Thank you so much, Jeff, for taking this interview. Appreciate a lot. So, you can hear all of the newest album in all the platform. Toxic Positivity. You can hear it right now. And I'm Lutfi signing off, and Jeff here signing off too. So, bye bye.
Thank you so much.